So I promised that I, on my stream, want to talk about this TV show a lot. I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan. I said I'm not going to do it until his video is out. Let's react to it. First, I've seen 2 episodes so far, like everyone else. And my opinion first, yeah. And I think House of Dragons seems amazing. I like it. I can't wait for more. I didn't expect much, but it looks great. I think it's so important that George R. R. Martin is a co-producer and not these shitty Dan and Dave motherfuckers, man. Yeah, spoilers, man. Spoilers. And I think the show's amazing. I was offended, though. And any real TommyKay viewer knows this. Who was the first Pirate King of the Stepstones? Huh? Before any of this was written. Before any of this was thought about. Huh? Exactly, man. They're copying my shit, and I want my money. HBO, you stole this from me. George R. R. Martin was watching my content, and he stole it all. Gentlemen, let's take a look here at episode 2. Let's talk about it. I already forgot the most, but let's take a look.
House of the Dragon, episode 2.
Let's go, baby.
A dragon showdown.
Yeah, that was pretty sick, man. That was pretty awkward. That was pretty awkward, man.
2 awkward marriage proposals and
Very
the
awkward.
reveal of
That guy looks actually sick. So one guy in chat said he has the mask of a harpy. Dude, I felt like he looks like the new bass player of Slipknot, but he looks sick, man. He looks like a pirate king, dude. You know, pretty sick. Especially if you look at the past lore of the stream.
Kragas
Pretty
crab
cool.
feeder. So, what's going on and what does it mean? This video has no spoilers beyond updating episode 2.
Oh, makes sense.
It starts with
He has
a new
grayscale?
opening sequence for the series. It shows
Yeah, we didn't
a
see that in
model
episode
city,
1.
like the one Viserys makes, but with a stream of blood running through it. This represents the bloodline of House Targaryen. It's a family tree.
And they used the old intro music, man, which I
showing the
appreciate.
last 100
Pretty cool.
years of Targaryen kings. It starts with this image of Valyria, the old empire of the Dragonlords. Valyria was destroyed in the mysterious Doom.
It's them that didn't invent
but
a new intro?
survived because
Depends,
they had already
right?
left
Depends.
Valyria and come to Dragonstone.
400
in
people just left the
Westeros.
stream. Who
This
cares?
next image is of Aegon's conquest, when Aegon Targaryen and his sisters and their dragons took over Westeros.
That's probably the Field of Fire.
Here, the bloodline splits in 2, because Aegon had one son with his sister wife Rhaenys, and one son with his other sister wife Visenya. The Rhaenys symbol shows a dragon skull with a bolt through the eye, because Rhaenys and her dragon were shot down with a scorpion bolt.
Dude, you learned so much from these videos.
Her son, King Aenys.
Dude.
Aegon's other son, Maegor, also.
I did not
became
read
king,
Fire and Blood,
but
no.
he never had children, and so isn't included in this.
Well, I think I didn't read this book, but I read the Aegon's conquest stuff. I read that years ago.
After Maegor, Aenys' son Jaehaerys became king, and he married his sister Alysanne.
Dude, these Targaryen girls were
Here,
so
the
fucking
bloodline
fine hot,
splits
man.
into 9 streams,
And then you watch the TV
because
show and you're
Jaehaerys
like,
and
okay.
Alysanne had 9 children who survived to adulthood. Next are Jaehaerys' kids, Balon and Alyssa. Balon has a hand symbol, because Balon was Hand of the King.
And you see why I think this TV show is going to be good? Because there's nerd shit in it. George R. R. Martin is involved, and it's nerdy. It's nerdy stuff, man. And the problem with Dan and Dave was that they weren't nerds. They were fucking Hollywood people. Go to parties with suits and make money. And I want to do Star Wars, man. You need nerds for this kind of TV show, man. That's what you need. And that's what you see here, man.
Balon and Alyssa's son was
Balon
King Viserys.
is the one who finished the Red
Viserys
Keep.
married Emma Arryn, and she's got the Arryn sigil.
But why does she have white hair?
After Emma is a long stream of blood, which
was she
evokes
blonde?
Emma's stillbirths and miscarriages and her death. But then we see her daughter Rhaenyra with the symbol of the Valyrian steel necklace that Daemon gave her last episode. And there's an image of the ceremony where Rhaenyra was named heir to the...
One problem, I think, is that the developer is taking real-life politics into this. Can you name an example? Can you tell me?
Meanwhile, in the background, we see the bloodline of the Velaryons, shown with blue symbols. And we see the bloodline of Otto Hightower.
You smelled a lot of woke. What's woke? What has been woke? Yeah, woke is being very overused here. My god, what feminism? You mean that scene where she says, oh, we're women, we don't have rights? That's just the truth. How's that feminist? When they talk about how women have no rights and the whole realm is gonna rebel if she becomes queen, how's that woke? That's just the truth, you know?
With his Hand of the King symbol.
And my god, dude, I reached a point, man, right? Who the fuck cares if they cast some black people? My god. It's, who the fuck's... Do you still sit home and be like, no, that one guy is black? What the fuck cares, man, right? Who the fuck cares, dude?
And his daughter Alicent with
If that's your biggest problem in life, man.
So this new intro is a visual summary of Targaryen family alongside the Velaryons and Hightowers. Maybe the intro will change throughout the season as the family changes, because this season occasionally jumps forward in time several years. The blood imagery reminds us that the history of the royal family is written in the blood of birth and the blood of battle.
Respect the original text. You realize that the developer of these texts, George R. Martin, is the main 50% producer of this TV show who approved of the casting. The developer himself. You know? Look, we can argue. We can argue always when you look at Tolkien, right? Where he literally described Middle-earth to be Anglo-Saxon based, mostly white people, or he described a black character that's now a black character, like her face was blah 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 blah. Or another example, in Harry Potter, it literally states that Hermione is white. There is a portion where it says Hermione's white face. Then we can talk a bit, you know, blah 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 blah. But if the fucking developer himself doesn't give a shit, my god, just, you know.
And in a lot of red wine. The bloodline is running downhill, which suggests...
And in the end, as Lisa always says, you realize these are all fictional worlds with fucking aliens and elves and shit, but oh my god, a black dude. That can't... Fucking orcs and trolls, I'm okay with that, but a black dude? Oh no! Oh no! Get out the Confederate flag,
are in
Mom!
Decline, falling from their
Who the
peak
fuck
at
cares?
Valyrian
My god.
down towards fiery disaster. The episode starts about 6 months after the previous episode.
Yeah, big time skip.
We see that Kragas Crabfeeder has a...
George R. R. Martin even said he wished he made the Valyrians black in the books. He's the boss, man. Dude, is that a harpy mask? That's not grayscale, is it? Kragas Drahar Crabfeeder. Trash Pirate King doesn't have shit on me.
Attacked another Westerosi ship.
But that intro scene was pretty fucking cool, right? That was pretty good, man.
Crabfeeder is the lead.
Ah, the stepstones! Oh, I feel this shit, dude! Come on, man! I love the stepstones.
Leader of the Triarchy.
I cannot wait. I'm such a nerd in regard. Thank you so much, Timmy45, man. I appreciate it, my brother, man. Thank you for helping the sub go out. Finally, someone. I am like a child on Christmas waiting for what the developers of the CK3 Game of Thrones mod will do to the Stepstones. I hope, you know, I don't want to sound arrogant. I hope that I'm kind of sometimes dreaming that they saw my content and if they just make the pirates equal to what they did in CK2, it's going to be amazing. And maybe even a little mini reference to TommyKay. Maybe, you know, a little reference to I would love that, but I can't wait. I'm so excited, man. So excited. Some of the CK3 Game of Thrones devs like your content. Do you have any source of that? Did they like say that in Discord or something? That would mean a lot to me, man, because I think these developers are fucking geniuses, man. What they did with CK2 Game of Thrones is nothing but art. I know, but I'm so excited, man, about CK3 Game of Thrones.
Over the Stepstones Islands.
I'm gonna play that shit to hell.
He's called Crabfeeder because he nails his enemies to the beach so they get eaten alive by crabs.
Sucks.
According to a behind-the-scenes video, Crabfeeder has grayscale.
Oh, he has grayscale.
Grayscale is a disease that slowly turns the body into stone. We saw stone men infected with grayscale in Game of Thrones. Jorah Mormont catches grayscale.
I'm playing my old save, and I have no crashes so far.
Madness, so it looks like the disease
I'm gonna play
makes
Aegon's
the
Conquest for reasons I will explain when the time comes.
Dangerous. He wears a mask similar to the Sons of the Harpy mask from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The idea is that Crabfeeder created his outfit from bits and pieces that he found in shipwrecks.
He's a cool character.
Crabfeeder's attacks are disrupting the trade that makes Corlys Velaryon rich, so Corlys wants to attack Crabfeeder immediately. But King Viserys doesn't want a big war, so he sends diplomats to the eastern...
And I would even go as far, man, dude. If the people that make, like, the World of Warcraft mod, Elder Kings, Game of Thrones, if these people would have worked on Crusader Kings 3, Crusader Kings 3 would be a fucking masterpiece by now.
Cities of Pentos and Volantis to see if they'll help against the Triarchy. And this might actually be a smart move, getting the free cities to sort this out amongst themselves so that the Targaryens don't have to go to war. But Corlys says that this makes the Targaryens look weak. And Rhaenyra suggests...
I agreed with that, man. You guys are Targaryens. You have fucking dragons. Just fly there and burn them all. Why are you so fucking scared, you know? And that shows a bit of the weakness of the king. I would
that
say.
they should send dragon riders as a show of force.
In this world, you gotta be an
Everyone's
ice-cold
talking
motherfucker,
back
man.
to King Viserys and questioning him, but when Rhaenyra speaks up, Viserys and Otto shut her down and send her away. Rhaenyra feels frustrated that even though she's the heir to the throne,
good man,
she's
but a
not
bad
allowed
king.
to participate in politics. She's still just the cupbearer, and Viserys still treats her like a little girl. Ryam Redwine, the commander of the Kingsguard,
House Redwine is from the Reach, right? Southwest.
has died of natural causes.
Oh, he died.
And there are always 7 Kingsguard, so now they need a new member to replace
Oh, House
Ryam.
Redwine is from the Arbor. Ah, cool.
Otto chooses candidates from houses Karen, Mallister, Corbray, Rowan, Craycall, and Tarly.
What I was thinking when I saw this is that most of these houses are from the south. They're Reach houses, nothing northern or Riverland or Arryn. I think, right? This is mostly southern houses, which I think is a great gimmick, once again, for the nerdness, that shows that South Westeros always works together. Mallister is actually Riverlands. Okay. Mallister, Seagull, they're Riverlands, okay. But they only invited him because they protect them from the Iron Fleet, you know? Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have invited them. The armor design is sick.
Is the family of Sam and Randall in Game of Thrones.
And
Each
Dickon.
candidate is represented
Craycall is also
by a
Riverlands.
carved
Oh, okay.
model, kind
Okay.
of like the small council balls
That
and
looks cool.
Viserys' dragon statue, suggesting that everyone here is just a piece in a game of
Thank you, Cervicer.
Otto tells Rhaenyra
New
to
roller
say
series
polite
released.
courtesies to the knights, so she plays that role with a fake, fleeting smile. This is what's expected of a young
Craycall
lady,
is Westerlands.
smiles and courtesies. But Rhaenyra
But
has
you
more.
feel this discontent for the North. Like when the Northern guy has to swear fealty to her, he looks a bit like, fuck this.
More to
Like the
offer.
North is never really
Otto
accepted.
says they should
in
choose
these
the Mallister or
regions.
Craycall Knight for the Kingsguard, because those houses are important politically. But the Kingsguard are meant to be apolitical and unbiased, simply the best, most honorable knights in the realm. When the Kingsguard are chosen for political reasons instead, that can make the Kingsguard weaker. By the time of Game of Thrones, most of the Kingsguard aren't great knights.
Yeah.
Instead, they're
That's so
corrupt
cool, man.
cronies, cowards, and oath-breakers.
Yeah, you're telling me that they beat the first sword of Bravo, Sirio Farrell? No
Rhaenyra
fucking
wants
way,
her
man.
father's guards to actually be great fighters, so she chooses Kristen Cole because he has real battle experience, and because he's really hot. King Viserys and Alicent Hightower have a hangout date meeting, and Viserys
It was so
talks
clear he's gonna
about
marry her,
Valyrian,
right? Like,
the
you were
old
like, yeah, he's gonna
Dragonlord
choose her, man. Let's be
empire.
real.
The Valyrian capital city was built on volcanoes called the 14 Flames, and Viserys says the volcanoes were the source of Valyrian magic and power. The books say that all Valyrian sorcery was rooted in blood or fire. Their sorcerers used glass candles that let them see across the world and enter people's dreams.
Dude.
Viserys says the Valyrian blood mages lived in the Anogrion. Anogri apparently means blood in Valyrian. The books say
There's a
that
Valyrian
Valyrian
translator?
blood mages did some crazy messed up shit. They twisted the flesh of beasts and men to create monstrous chimeras. In the flesh pits of Gorgossos, beasts were mated to slave women to
Yeah, that's what's so cool about Game of Thrones. We only see Game of Thrones, a TV show, and now this new TV show. But around the world of Game of Thrones is some fucked up shit, man. Crazy monsters and
forth
a lot of
twisted
crazy stuff that we never
half-human
seen in the shows
children.
yet.
Some fans
You can
theorize
literally
that
learn Valyrian
blood
on
magic
Duolingo. My
created
God.
dragons and gave the Targaryens the dragon blood that allows them to control dragons. In this episode, we see a painting on a wall of a dragon having sex with humans. The blood of the dragon.
That's why I
may
like these
be
videos. I've never
literal,
seen that.
But Viserys doesn't mention Valyria's blood magic monstrosities, or the fact that Valyria's volcanoes were full of slaves being
Argonians.
worked to death in the burning mines. It's crazy how Viserys
It's a bit
admires
based on the Roman
glory
Empire
of
a little bit.
Valyria when Valyria was so
And Vesuvio
evil.
and shit and
It's like
slaves.
he's playing with a Lego model of magic Nazi Germany. Viserys and Alicent compare Valyria and its fall
That's like
to
a HOI4 player.
Westeros, and then Viserys drops a statue of a dragon, which heavily foreshadows disaster for the Targaryen dynasty. Viserys and Alicent have been
Everything
having
makes
these
sense.
meeting hang dates for a while. On one level, it's an innocent friendship. Alicent understands Viserys' grief for his dead wife Emma, because her own mother died, so she feels real sympathy for Viserys. But at the same time, Alicent visits Viserys because Otto tells her to. He wants her to hook up with the king to make the Hightowers more powerful. Alicent's actor said it's ambiguous to what extent Alicent is scheming for Otto instead of being genuine. But ultimately, Alicent
I have
is
not
a
seen the trailer for next
14-year-old
episode.
girl
We can
who
check that after.
has to obey her father and her king. We can see how anxious that makes her feel when she picks at her fingernails. The relationship is further complicated by Alicent's friendship with Rhaenyra.
Stupid man.
Because Viserys tells Alicent not to tell Rhaenyra about their meetings, which forces Alicent to choose between loyalty to her king and loyalty to her best friend. Alicent and Rhaenyra go to a sept, which
That's
is
what
a
Game of Thrones
church
is so good
of
at.
the
It
faith of
sets
the
up
Seven.
these
Alicent is a
characters so
believer
well,
of
and
the
they
faith,
have to
which
stab
makes
each other in the
sense
back and
because
stuff.
Her family,
So
the
good.
Hightowers of Oldtown, have close ties with the faith. But Rhaenyra is not so religious. Some Targaryens don't worship gods, preferring to think of themselves as gods. So Alicent teaches Rhaenyra to pray at the statue of the Mother, to feel close to their own dead mothers. Alicent and Rhaenyra clearly have a deep bond, but when they talk about Viserys remarrying, Alicent doesn't tell Rhaenyra about her meetings with Viserys. So Alicent is not being
Game of Thrones.
completely honest with her friend. Viserys speaks with Lord Corlys and his wife Rhaenys, who say that the Targaryen throne looks vulnerable. Crabfeeder has the Stepstones, Daemon has Dragonstone,
And there I always felt like, okay, it looks vulnerable, but my god, just get some dragons and burn everyone, man. Like,
Queen Emma
what's the fucking
dead,
problem?
and the heir to the throne is a girl.
I mean, that
Corlys
looks actually pretty
uses
bad.
a
Okay.
sailing metaphor about facing a storm, because Corlys is a famous sailor who has traveled the world. Corlys proposes that King Viserys marry his daughter Laena to make the royal family stronger by deepening
Yeah, soon there will be a big time
Targaryen
jump, right,
Valyrian
in the TV show.
alliance. This alliance
actors and
has been
stuff.
shaky ever since Rhaenys was rejected at the Harrenhal Council. Marrying Laena to the king would bring them closer and would make Corlys even more powerful. But Viserys is not keen to marry a 12-year-old girl, and he's still grieving his dead wife
He
Emma.
ain't Joe Biden
So
in this
Viserys
shit.
appears indecisive and uncertain, which is really not how a king should behave. Viserys and Rhaenyra try to talk and connect, but it's awkward. The silence is highlighted by the sound of crickets, and by the physical distance between Viserys and Rhaenyra.
Vladimir Putin moment.
Rhaenyra brings up
He'd
the
rather go for the
council
14-year-old.
earlier. She wants Viserys to listen to what she has to say, but Viserys just talks over Rhaenyra again. We see that Viserys' finger is rotting after it was cut on the Iron Throne.
Yeah, I used to read a lot of Game of Thrones side lore, but I don't know what kind of disease that is.
Last episode. This is another bad omen, hinting
something
that
bad's gonna
power
happen.
is killing Viserys, that the throne is
Yeah,
rejecting
so
him.
clever, man. This
The
is so well
rotting
written.
hand also suggests that the hand of the king, Otto, is corrupt. Seeing maggots eat his flesh evokes
Tetanus?
Viserys' line last episode about crows feasting on his family's corpses. This political
Imagine
world
maggots
is
eating your
eating
fucking
Viserys
finger, man.
alive, and two of the hungriest vultures are Otto and Melos. Viserys says that Corlys proposed marriage to Laena, and this worries Otto, because he wants Viserys to marry his daughter, Alicent. Otto shares some knowing looks with Grand Maester Melos. It's obvious that these two are working together. We saw them conniving in the shadows last episode, and saw a maester whispering in Otto's
The costumes
ear.
in this show are just so good, right? The costumes look so good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kralin.
It makes sense that Otto might be working with the
The
maesters,
throne hurts the
because
one it considers unworthy. I never heard that before. Okay.
the maesters are based in the Hightower city of Oldtown.
Old
Otto
Town will
even
be nice
wears
to
a
see.
chain on his neck that's similar to a maester's chain. So together, Otto and Melos subtly manipulate Viserys, saying yes, there are good reasons to marry Laena Velaryon, but that would also anger Rhaenyra, and it would be an insult.
And I gotta say, this entire show makes me very excited for the Jon Snow show. You know, there's the show confirmed now where Jon Snow, Kit Harington returns, and we're gonna see him behind the wall. And also, that TV show is gonna be the most present in the timeline of Game of Thrones ever. books, TV show, where we've never been this far in the future of Game of Thrones, which I think is amazing, man. Thank you, Kiz.
To the memory of Viserys' dead wife. So without
like, what's Jon Snow gonna do? Is he gonna investigate the White Walkers, man?
Otto and Melo.
What if George R. R. Martin brings the White Walkers back? Oh, dude.
Pressure Viserys not to marry Laena. Viserys and Laena have an awkward walk of courtship in the
that
garden,
was so awkward,
like
man.
Sansa's awkward walks with Loras in Game of Thrones. Laena and Viserys are both very
really
uncomfortable with this marriage proposal, though big age gaps in political marriages are not uncommon in Westeros. Like, in the books, Sansa is 12 when she marries
In the end of Game of Thrones, one Walker lives? What are you talking about?
Daenerys is 13 when she marries Drogo.
Yeah, fake news as fuck.
Girls are considered ready to have sex when they have their first period. Here, Laena says she's expected to have sex with Viserys when she turns 14. The books emphasize...
What if Targaryen's Maegor had the crew literally died from the cuts from the throne, and people think the throne killed him because he was unworthy? 1 sec, I will send proof. Okay, send it to me in Discord. But maybe I could imagine George R. Martin is gonna try to save Game of Thrones in the way that, thank you, Worth, that he's just gonna bring the White Walkers back in the future or something. I mean, in the books it's gonna be better.
The horror that Sansa and Daenerys experience as child brides, and show the danger of young pregnancies. In this world, girls' bodies are political objects used to perpetuate bloodlines, just as men's bodies are on battlefields. Laena
but if you don't bring back the White Walkers, how's the Jon Snow show gonna be cool? Is he just gonna fight wolves and giants, or... I wonder what's gonna happen there. Her mother was Targaryen. Ah, okay. Her mother was Targaryen.
Not interested in marriage. She's interested in dragons. She asks about Vhagar, the oldest and biggest dragon in the world, ever since the death of Viserys' dragon Valyrian, the Black Dread. Vhagar was the dragon of Queen Visenya Targaryen, who conquered Westeros alongside Aegon. Then Vhagar was ridden by Balon Targaryen, the father of Viserys and Daemon. These days, the old she-dragon has left King's Landing and retired to some place on the east coast.
I remember when I read books back in the day. What the f... the problem with dragons going somewhere is that the population gets fucked, because they always eat all the sheep and stuff. Like, people hate when dragons nest somewhere. Thank you, Iron Ace, my dude.
It's terrifying that the Targaryens don't know.
Yeah, he's sad. Because you guys watch the stream without pressing the follow button, some of you. It hurts. Crying about the mega campaign.
Yet another thing that King Viserys is not in control of.
One guy actually followed.
The workers at Spicetown sometimes hear Vhagar's song. Spicetown is a trading port on Driftmark, so maybe the Valyrians...
I cannot wait to return to this world in
Rhaenyra sees her father on a
date
date with a 12-year-old. If Viserys remarries and has a son, that son could replace Rhaenyra as heir to the throne, just like Rhaenys was replaced at the Harrenhal Council when Viserys was made heir instead of her.
But I don't know why that's so shocking.
Rhaenys says that this is the order of things.
Yeah.
Men would
in this fictional world, women don't have it very nice
than see a woman on the throne. In Game of Thrones, we see how hard it is for Daenerys and Cersei to hold power. Though, to be fair, it is Daenerys and Cersei who torch the realm, not the men. Rhaenys has mixed
That's what happens when women take over. You see that shit? Everybody fucking
She feels
burns.
sympathy that Rhaenyra is facing
Very
the same
good
obstacles
storytelling.
she faced. But she also feels a little jealousy or spite, as though she doesn't want Rhaenyra to succeed where Rhaenys
I'm waiting for the proof that there's a White Walker in the end.
insists that she will become queen and will make a new order, a more fair political system. Like when Daenerys says that she'll break the wheel. We learn that Viserys' brother, Prince Daemon, has been living on Dragonstone.
The whole White Walker thing is a fan theory based on a string of subtle... I need sources, and that guy said he's going to send me a source, and I'm still waiting.
Last 6 months, despite the fact that Viserys
she was a perfect
Daemon
actor for the
Vale
Targaryen,
to his estranged wife, Rhea Royce.
The casting has been
Daemon
pretty good.
Took his gold cloaks to Dragonstone, even though the gold cloaks are meant to be guarding King's Landing. And now, Daemon does something even more provocative. He calls himself the rightful heir to the throne instead of Rhaenyra. And he says he's gonna marry his lover Mysaria, even though Daemon's already married to Rhea Royce.
The
Targaryens and Valyrians do have...
The problem is the assassins of Braavos, the Faceless Men, the price for them always goes with the target's value. So killing the literal would-be heir of the throne is probably almost unpayable, man. The Faceless Men, if you kill royal blood, they want so much money, man, that you almost cannot really do that. I always wondered what the Faceless Men do with money. Like, they pray to this deaf god, and they're like really fucking autistic, but what the fuck do we care? They don't buy any mansions, you know? They don't really use money.
Of a history of marrying multiple wives. Aegon the Conqueror married both his sisters, Rhaenys and Visenya. But according to the Faith of the Seven, polygamy is a sin. King Maegor went to war with the Faith when he married 6 wives. And after that disaster, the Targaryens stopped their polygamous marriages. If Daemon brings back that tradition, he could reignite this old conflict with the Faith.
They buy candles.
And Daemon also steals a dragon egg. Because traditionally, the Targaryens put a dragon egg in the cradle of their babies, so that the dragon hatchling bonds with the baby.
Yeah, the Faceless Men can even deny killing a certain target.
Is pregnant with his child. But the specific dragon egg that Daemon stole is the egg that was going to be Prince Balon's,
yeah, that was
Viserys
not nice.
and Aemma's baby, that was going to be Viserys' heir. Daemon's heir for a day speech was what started this fight with Viserys.
There's a theory the Faceless Men were the ones who caused the destruction of Valyria. One would think it was 14 volcanoes erupting, but nice theory.
In the first
Thank you, Finn.
So, in one day, Daemon commits treason, blasphemy, egg theft, and insults Viserys over his dead baby again, forcing the king to take action.
I have not seen Rings of Power.
He says he'll go and face Daemon himself, but then Otto says he can't allow that, it's too dangerous. Viserys is the king, but it often seems like Otto is the one in charge. Later, Viserys says, "I am your king," and in Game of Thrones, we're told that any man who must say, "I am the king," is no true king. Otto goes to Dragonstone and tells Daemon to surrender. But Daemon just asks, where's Viserys? The whole reason Daemon does all this is cause he wants attention and acknowledgement from his brother. Daemon faces Criston Cole, the knight who defeated him at the tournament last episode.
Yeah, he was a chat, he was
Daemon calls Criston Sir Crispin instead, just like in Game of Thrones when Jaime calls Dickon Rickon. Daemon is protected by his fierce...
That is such a... That looks like an Elden Ring boss, man. Look at that dragon, man. It's so sick,
dragon Caraxes. So Otto can't defeat Daemon without a lot of dudes being barbecued. But then Rhaenyra turns up on her dragon Syrax. With her dragon, Rhaenyra can't be bossed around by Otto anymore, so she takes charge and confronts Daemon. By calling himself heir to the throne, Daemon undermines Rhaenyra's position as heir. Dragonstone itself is traditionally the seat of the heir to the throne, so Rhaenyra dares Daemon to kill her, to take her place as heir, and it looks like Daemon thinks about it. But for all his violence and chaos, Daemon doesn't want to kill.
That's why George R. Martin called Daemon Targaryen one of his favorite characters of all Targaryens, because he's so great. He's not pure evil. He has also good in him.
So Daemon gives up the dragon.
He's a very complex character.
The egg is kept in this hot container because dragon eggs seem to like heat. Daemon's lover Mysaria is angry because despite Daemon's announcements, Mysaria wasn't told that they were gonna be married, and Mysaria isn't pregnant. She says she can't get pregnant. Mysaria says
that's
that
a big
Daemon's
no-no in these times.
games might be fun for him, but they could easily get her killed. Men like Otto see Mysaria as a disposable whore. We saw in Game of Thrones how Cersei and Tywin treat women they see as whores. Mysaria says she's been sold as property and lived in terror most of her life. It's a similar backstory to Melisandre's in Game of Thrones, who was also a slave from the
Melisandre was also so useless in the end. She did nothing, man.
We saw Melisandre with Stannis
nothing mattered, man.
on Dragonstone, much like Mysaria and Daemon on Dragonstone. Both Stannis and Daemon want the throne and want the love of their
But we saw her titties at least.
Viserys goes to Lionel Strong and asks for unbiased advice. Viserys knows that Corlys and Otto are trying to use him for their political gain, so he asks Lionel for an outside opinion on who Viserys should marry. Lionel says he should marry Laena, because Corlys is an important ally and they'll need his ships if there's war in the Stepstones. But Lionel also says that proud men don't like having to look up. And he says that while
Jeez,
Lionel
man, is he
is
okay?
looking up at Viserys.
UFC Paris is actually live right now.
Lord of Harrenhal, the
Yeah,
biggest castle in the
shit to do,
realm,
though.
and he's the leader of
Dude,
House
Bobby Knuckles
Strong,
wins that
an
easy.
ancient line of noble
Fucking
warrior.
Harrenhal. I cannot get over that. In CK2 of Game of Thrones, the developers added a system that you can rebuild Harrenhal. I thought that was so cool, dude. So cool.
Surely Lionel
And I never
is a
finished it.
proud
Never was
man
able to do it.
too. So what are his ambitions? Viserys gets angry that Rhaenyra flew off to Dragonstone without his permission. Viserys feels very protective of Rhaenyra. Maybe because his wife died, he's terrified of losing his daughter too. But Rhaenyra points out that she got results. She got the dragon egg without any violence. So she wants to show Viserys that he can trust in her abilities. Viserys acknowledges that he does need to let Rhaenyra grow into an adult. Rhaenyra says that she understands that as king, Viserys needs to remarry. So for the first time in months, Viserys and Rhaenyra really connect emotionally. But there is a misunderstanding here, because Rhaenyra thinks Viserys is talking about marrying Laena Velaryon, but really Viserys is thinking of marrying Alicent, Rhaenyra's best friend. Alicent
Yeah, I will play the
fixes
Stepstone Pirates
Viserys'
once
broken
again,
dragon
which is
statue.
very hard.
So maybe Viserys thinks that Alicent can fix his broken family, or he just wants a wife who supports his dorky hobbies. Or maybe he'd...
But that's what men are, man, you know? When you meet the girl that's into your dorky hobbies,
just
man, that's like the love of your
marry
life, dude.
a 14-year-old rather than a 12-year-old. Either way, the next day, Viserys announces that he'll marry Alicent Hightower. And this pisses off everybody, except Otto.
That moment I felt a bit weird, because it's like, okay, cool, but it's not very unexpected, and it's really dumb. It's a very, very dumb move. Like, it's so dumb, almost like a bit unrealistically dumb. Thank you, Living Glued.
Corlys is furious because by rejecting Laena, the Targaryens have rejected his family again. Rhaenyra is upset because it's super weird that her dad is marrying her friend, and also because Viserys and Alicent kept their relationship
Yeah, it
secret
was just
from
very
her.
bad decision by this
Alicent looks
bad king.
anxious about marrying this old guy and becoming the queen, and Daemon will be angry because a child of Viserys could push him further back in the line of succession. Viserys' failure to communicate with Rhaenyra and to
She's hot,
appease
though.
Corlys creates huge
Dude,
divisions
she's like,
at a
come
time
on,
when
man.
the Targaryens are already
You just called the
looking
14-year-old hot.
vulnerable. Daemon and Corlys get together on Driftmark, the Valyrian island. Corlys' home is decorated with maps and skulls and a barnacled bust,
That's so
artifacts from
That looks
Corlys'
amazing.
sea voyages. Corlys and Daemon are both angry at Viserys, so they decide to go do their own thing.
The
and
actress is
to
though still weird. Stop trying to... Shut up.
attack the crab feeder to end the threat to Corlys' ships.
But they need
and
one dragon
win
to kill this
glory
guy.
for
Like,
them
what the
both.
fuck?
Corlys says House Velaryon have always been underdogs. Even back in Valyria, the Targaryens had dragons, but the Velaryons didn't, so they had to make their own power with ships and grit. Corlys is a self-made man, in that it was his voyages around the world that made his family rich. Corlys mentions building his seat by his own strength, because Corlys used his wealth to build a new castle on Driftmark called High Tide. He also mentions the Driftwood Throne, which is the seat of the Lord of Driftmark. According to legend, the ancient Driftwood Throne was given to the Velaryons by the Merling King. Corlys says he and Daemon must prove their worth because they are second sons. The laws of inheritance in Westeros mean that firstborn sons, like Viserys, inherit the lordship.
I thought that was sick because we're seeing Blackfire, the most, pretty much the most famous sword in Game of Thrones. Next to Lightbringer and Dawn, but looks okay, I guess. Yeah, looks okay, I guess. Yeah, I think it looks okay. I guess.
And lands. Second sons, like Daemon and Otto, often inherit nothing, so they've got to find
Maybe a
their
bit
own place in
underwhelming,
the
I don't know.
world. Some second sons join the Maesters, or the Faith, or the Night's Watch. Some become tournament knights, or mercenaries. There's a whole mercenary group called the Second Sons, who joined Daenerys in Game of Thrones.
I hated that they recasted this guy. He was so cool. I thought he was a great actor.
In the books, Oberyn Martell, and later Tyrion, join the Second Sons. Some Second Sons are jealous and resentful of their big brothers, like Stannis with his brother Robert. Daemon is a classic example of a second son who feels overshadowed by his brother. Corlys is not literally a
There's many
second
Valyrian
son,
shield swords, but
as
there's only
far as
one
we
Dawn.
know.
Yeah.
But House Velaryon has always been the second family in Westeros. They've always been less powerful than the royal Targaryen.
And there's a lot in the lore. Sometimes there's actually little hints by George R. R. Martin that Dawn might be the best sword in all of Game of Thrones. He is he's talking about if you have Dawn, you pretty much win a lot of duels if the skill level is the same. Thank you, whatever that name is, and Mitzen. Whatever the fuck, man. Jesus.
That it is September. Bad thing is that it isn't on mobile.
Have you seen the She-Hulk twerk
Targaryens.
clip?
So Corlys and Daemon decide to prove themselves by going to war with the Crab Feeder. So in this episode, divisions deepen between the most powerful people.
I thought
in the
She-Hulk
realm,
is a movie,
setting
but
the
it's a TV
stage
show.
for
I didn't know.
Fiery conflicts in the future. House of the Dragon is based on the book.
Good shit, good shit.